On December 12th of last season, the New Orleans Pelicans sat in first place in the Western Conference. They remained a top 3 seed for another month on top of that. When at full strength, they're one of the hardest to stop teams in the entire league. However, that was the problem last season. They just couldn't stay at full strength. Zion Williamson is arguably one of the 5 most dominant players in the league when healthy, but he's averaged less than 30 games per season over his 4-year career, which is just insanely low. He's running out of chances to prove he can play even 50 games consistently each season. But he was named to his second All-Star game last season in 3 years on the court. Then their second best player, Brandon Ingram, only played just 45 games last season. But the talent on this team is undeniable. On top of the 2 All-Star forwards, they also have another 20-point scorer in CJ McCollum, a future star in Trey Murphy, an elite defender in Herb Jones, and an underrated big man in Jonas Valanciunas, as well as others. It's a stacked roster, but with Z and BI, the team can't reach its potential. Zion does look like he's in great shape, but we've been fooled by that before. It's kind of a younger version of the Clippers, where there are 2 legit stars at the top that can make the team contenders in the West, but they're always missing games. The fact that the guys are younger, though, makes it more believable that they can bounce back. The New Orleans Pelicans are the NBA's biggest wild card. Now let's take a deeper look at why. Before we get into the extremely talented team from the Bayou, if you enjoy my content and watch a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 91% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you're watching before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Vegas may be tired of waiting for Zion to be on the court, because the Pelicans have just the 11th highest win total in the Western Conference. I get the West is deep, but it feels crazy to me that a team with as much talent as the Pelicans is being predicted to miss the play-in tournament altogether. They have 2 legit All-Stars in Zion and Ingram, a near All-Star in CJ McCollum, and a potential future All-Star in Trey Murphy. Willie Green is a fun young head coach and can utilize the talent that exists on both ends of the floor. The team is a top 3 team in the conference with both of their stars on the court. They showed us that last year. But it's hard to say that's going to happen, which makes them extremely unpredictable. But everything relies on the players, so let's take a look at the impact guys for New Orleans. When talking about the Pelicans, you have to start with 2019 number 1 overall pick, Zion Williamson. The Duke product has been elite ever since he stepped on an NBA court. For his career, even including his rookie season, he's averaged 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. He's also shot 61% from the field. He's one of the most physically imposing players that we've ever seen come into the league. He's nearly unstoppable with a full head of steam and plows through defenders to get to the rim. He's made 2 All-Star games already, even though he's played so few games. He's just that dominant when on the floor. But there always seems to be some sort of injury concern. If he doesn't start taking his health and conditioning seriously, he could end up as one of the biggest wastes of talent in professional sports history. But it looks as if he's in his best shape yet right now, and he's had a lot of time to heal from last season's injury. He's running out of chances, but if he can stay on the floor, this is a guy that could win championships and MVPs. Then we should look at New Orleans' number 2 option, Brandon Ingram. But due to all of Zion's injuries, he often ends up as the lead guy. I saw some this summer claim he's pushing 30, but BI is still only 26 years old. He could take another step and be even better than we've seen so far. Last season, he averaged 25 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds per game, with incredibly efficient 48, 39, 88 shooting splits. He's not Kevin Durant like he was projected to be, but he's still an elite offensive option. He's in the KD mold, and he's really not all that far off. As far as guys that have been predicted as KD coming out, he might be the closest we've seen. When it comes to isolation scoring, Ingram is towards the top of that list. Then we should talk about the third option that the team added at the 2022 NBA trade deadline. That would be shooting guard CJ McCollum, who many people view as one of the best players to never make an All-Star game. In just over 100 games with the Pelicans so far, he's averaged 22 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds per game, while shooting 39% from 3. He's had to shift more towards a point guard role in New Orleans, and his assist numbers are more than 2 per game higher than his career numbers. Whenever a team has 3 players who can score more than 20 points per game, you know the top-end talent is very impressive. A lot of people within the Pelicans organization view wing Trey Murphy as the most untouchable trade piece on the team, because he has perennial all-star level upside. He plays both ends of the floor and does so on a high level. We saw a ton of improvement from him in his second season last year, going from 5 points per game in his rookie year to 15 points per game last season. He also averaged 4 rebounds and 1 steal per game. At 41% from 3 on 6 attempts per, you could argue he's the best shooter on the team. I expect him to take another step forward this season and show how special he truly is. I think center Jonas Valanciunas is really underrated. He's such a consistent presence at the starting 5 spot and even steps up really big sometimes. It feels as if there's multiple times where I'll get a notification on my phone that JV has like 30 points in the first half. He's one of the best floor spacing bigs in the league and can really fill it up in bunches. Last season, he averaged 14 points and 10 rebounds per game. The team is lucky they have him, and if he's your 5th best player, which he could be on this team, then your team is very good. Finally, I want to talk about Herb Jones. Despite just being in the league for 2 years, he has emerged as one of the best defenders in the entire association. Many of his peers have even voted him as such. His box score numbers may not wow you at 10 points and 4 rebounds per game, but the 1.6 steals last season was impressive. The box score is deceiving for a player like Herb because he makes an impact nearly every time he's on the defensive end of the floor. The dude is just a menace there. In terms of lineup, the starters for the Pelicans should be McCollum, Murphy, Ingram, Zion, and Valanciunas. Then the second unit should be Jose Alvarado, Dyson Daniels, Herb Jones, Najee Marshall, and Larry Nance Jr. Guys like Jordan Hawkins, Cody Zeller, and Kira Lewis could get minutes as well. So what should we expect from the Pelicans in 2024? On the low end, they could be struck by injuries once again and miss the play-in entirely. The West is extremely deep and it will be tough for all teams out there this season. On the high end though, they could finish as a top 3 seed like they were last season when healthy and enter the playoffs with home court advantage. That would be the best season we'd seen from New Orleans in quite some time now. Expect at least one All-Star with Zion, and it could be both Zion and Ingram if they outperform expectations. If the team can get 50 or 60 plus games out of its 2 stars, they'll be one of the better teams in the league, but it's hard to predict that, which makes the Pelicans the NBA's biggest wild card. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.